Hi, Roy Stone here with Jamstone Magic, and I'm proud to announce one of our newer products. This is the Emperor's New Clothes. Many years ago, in a land far, far away, there lived a king. Not just any king, but a great king, King Buck. Now, King Buck ruled over all the land, and King Buck lived the life of royalty. He loved lots of things. He loved gold and jewels. He loved fine food, exotic foods, the rarest foods you could find. He had cooks in his castle that could cook just about anything. One of his favorite foods was something called fluffernutter stew. Have you ever heard of fluffernutter stew? Oh, it's something, I'll tell you. It's marshmallows and Nutella, all boiled up in a rich sardine stew. Yuck. But he loved it. There's another thing that he loved. He loved himself. He did. He loved himself. He was a little bit on the vain side. And he loved new clothes. And he loved looking at himself in the mirror in new clothes. He had the finest seamstresses and tailors working for him in the castle. And they would constantly be making him new clothes. Well, it just so happened that King Buck's birthday was coming up. And King Buck was planning a parade through town to celebrate his birthday. He was so excited. So, for his birthday, you know what he wanted? A new suit. He wanted a new birthday suit. He sure did. If he was going to go through town, he needed a new suit to do it in. So, not just any suit would do. He wanted a very special, grand suit, a suit better than any clothes that he had. So he made a contest. And he sent out the message far and wide to all tailors and all seamstresses to come, and whoever could make him the greatest suit would win a prize of great riches, their choice of anything out of the king's treasury. Well, people came from all around saying that they could make the best suit. Two guys in particular showed up. A guy by the name of Bib and Tuck. They were partners. And they told the king, "Oh, king, we can make a better suit than anybody. King Buck, our suit is made out of a very special material. It's a great fabric that has magical properties. It's a fabric so soft and so light, it feels like you're not even wearing anything. It's so light." And the king thought about his normal robes and how heavy they were, how the velvet and the wool was so heavy, and the ermine. It was great looking, but it was heavy. And it was stiff to move around in, so he thought, man, a suit that is so light that I can move however I want and not so heavy, that would be great. I don't have any clothes made out of such a magic fabric. Oh, king, but that's not all. Great King Buck, our fabric has another magical property that no other fabric has. You see, only people with the wisest minds can see it. Anybody that's foolish can't even see it. It's invisible to them. So the king thought, wow, a fabric that only the wise can see? Just think, if I wore that and somebody couldn't see it, then I'd realize how much of a fool they were. And if they worked for me in the castle, I would be able to tell whether they were fit to fulfill their office. So he told Bib and Tuck, you have 3 days to make me the best suit I've ever seen out of this magical fabric. Oh, king, we're going to need some special tools. We need looms and spinning wheels, and we're going to need all the gold thread that you can find. So the king sent for the servant, and the servant took Bib and Tuck down to the spinning room. And there they began to spin with the gold thread that they had been given. All day long, they would sit there at the spinning wheel, and they would spin, and they would spin, and they would spin, and they would spin. And then they would loom at the loom. They would work the loom all day long. Those spinning wheels would turn and turn and turn and turn and turn, and they would turn. Well, the next day, the king sent another servant down. Said, go down there and see how it's coming. I can't go down. I don't want to see it till it's finished. So the servant went down. And the servant looked into the window of the room and saw Bib and Tuck, sure enough, spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning All around and around and around they went. But no fabric was coming out of the looms. The servant thought, I see them working so diligently, but I don't see the fabric. And then he remembered what they had said, that the fabric was invisible to the foolish. Well, the servant thought, I don't think I'm foolish, but I can't see the fabric. Maybe I am. And that servant realized that if he went back to the king and told the king that he couldn't see any fabric, that the king would think him foolish too and fire him from his position. So when he came up to the king, he told a bit of a story. He said, King, I went down there and Bib and Tuck both are working so hard and so diligently in the fabric. That fabric is beautiful. It's mind-blowing how beautiful the fabric is. Oh, this made the king excited. He was so excited to see this fabric. And he began to think of how great he would look and how great people would think of him and how much he loved himself and how much everybody else would love him in his new birthday suit. The next day, it was the third day, and the king was so excited. So Bib and Tuck finally came out of the spinning room, and they came out and they came holding the brand new suit. They held it up for the king and said, King, this is the brand new suit. Isn't it gorgeous? Just look at the reds and the greens and all the gold from the gold thread. Isn't it gorgeous? Well, the king looked, but you know what he saw? That's right. He saw nothing at all. But the king realized that his servants had told him how beautiful it was. And he remembered what Bib and Tuck had told him. Maybe he, as the king himself, was a little too foolish. Maybe he couldn't see it. He didn't want to admit to all of his servants and to Bib and Tuck that he couldn't see it. So he went along. And they put the suit on him as if there was a suit. And Bib and Tuck acted like they were measuring a little bit and taking it in here and letting it out a little bit there. Well, when the king came out of the wardrobe room, that's what his suit looked like. It was nothing at all. He was a little worried. Now he had to go into public in the parade wearing his new birthday suit. He got into the chariot and they began parading through town. Everybody looked and they began to talk behind their hands to each other. And they whispered and they snickered a little bit. But nobody would say anything bad about the king. They knew how vain he was. They all would clap a little bit when he went by. And the king would think, wow, maybe it is a gorgeous suit. Everybody seems to love my new suit. Then, as they drove by, one young little innocent child spoke up to their dad and said, Dad, why is the king going through town in his underwear? At that, everybody began laughing. Everybody laughed and laughed and laughed at poor King Buck. King Buck realized that he was driving through town almost naked. Yeah. Well, he was quite upset, and he decided that when he got back to the kingdom, he'd take care of Bib and Tuck. But when he got there, Bib and Tuck were gone. There's a moral to our story. The story is, don't let your pride and gullibility make a fool out of you. This is our Emperor's New Clothes. As you can see, it's a great story. It goes fabulous with the upcoming fantasy and fairy tale theme for the library shows coming up, or a great birthday party, or even in your church. I've used it to teach about pride and the dangers thereof to my children in my children's church. Get yours at Jamstone Magic or find us at Facebook.